Hey Angelina, this is Mike Fatika. I just wrote up a tutorial in regards to your question about how to set up kind of a compact embedded layout. And I wanted to show you in a little bit more detail what was done. I created a new interface specific for this in this demo account. I called it Compact Interface. And I just want to run down these settings and show you what I did, and then also show you some of the changes I made to the website on which this was deployed. So just running top to bottom, first thing I did was turn off the map display. And then I made the directory width and height both 100%. Generally speaking, the directory is what we refer to as the text-based results, which look like this. So this over here is the directory, and this over here, of course, is the map. In this case, we're going to turn off the map. The other thing that I did was under form settings is I removed all the search form options. And so what that does is basically causes this entire section to go away. And so as you can see, we're kind of making this smaller and smaller as we go. The template settings control the formatting of the search results. You wanted to have the text your nearest location is, and then the name of that location, I presume. And so that's what we've done in our example. Normally they have things like the title, the address, city, state. We've gotten rid of all of that. And when you preview that, you can see that the only result is just this one. And it's formatted according to what you were looking for. Going down the list, we can ignore the rest of these because they're no longer accessible. Under data settings, the most important change here is that we've limited the total number of search results to just a single result. So if I change this to 10, for example, and I save my results, and let's just reload our preview here. Notice we have a larger number of results. This particular database only has 5 or 6 examples in it, but reducing it to one result ensures that we only show the nearest one to us, and only one at that. And so let me go back and change that back to 1. And under geolocation settings, the next thing I did was turned on the IP detection by auto find user and display results. The other thing I did was I kicked the radius up so that no matter where the visitor was coming from, they would always see the nearest location, even if it was, possibly thousands of miles away. It will always display the nearest location. So the other options that we took advantage of were we disabled the auto sizing of the iframe. Since this is living in this rather tight space, I wanted to be very rigid about my control of the height of this iframe, and so I turned off the automatic detection. I also removed the padding that we normally put on the bottom of the interface so that we could fit in that specific heading area that we had. The other CSS that I added here basically had the purpose of hiding elements that I did not want to show on this particular layout. So things like the default bordering, background colors, that sort of thing. I also leveraged the CSS in order to hide the submit buttons that you normally see. This reset and submit button. So using CSS, I hide basically everything that was not necessary in this example. I've given you that CSS, and so that does a vast majority of the heavy lifting, if you will. And the other thing is down here under legacy settings, I choose, excuse me, under choose a style, I set this to no style. And that simply limits the amount of work we need to do up here. The styles bring in some border coloring and some other things that can interfere with the presentation when really all we want is this piece. So you'll notice that the interface itself only displays this segment here. And so let's go over to our website and let me show you what I did. This is a WordPress website, and so your platform may be different, but the concepts are still the same. So let's log into the back end of the WordPress site, and I can show you what I did to get this in the header. So in the back end here, under Appearance and Widgets, this WordPress allows us to add content to our header, and that's what I've taken advantage of. Under the header, you can see we've just added a standard text block, which contains the entirety of the MetaLocator solution that we've added here. And so it basically includes three pieces. The first is the interface itself, and that's been deployed as an iframe, which you can see right here. The iframe, creating this iframe is covered in the tutorial that I sent you. The only thing I really did was I fixed the height right here in the style, and I also added some margin to kind of push it off the top of the page like the rest of these are so that the alignment looks nice. Of course, these are going to be very different depending on the site that you're deploying it on. So where were we? Under widgets. And so the iframe is obviously the most important part. The next part is the form elements that are just above it. So this is the postal code search that you see here, search by zip code, and then the submit button. So unlike most other interfaces, in this case, the search button and the input are directly on your website. And when somebody clicks this, it goes to a page that hosts your larger locator. So let's give you an example here. If I type in 802.05, which is where we are here in Denver, you'll see I direct to a new page that hosts our main store locator, and that pre-populated the search for 802.05 and shows me the nearest locations according to the rules that are set up under that locator. Looking here, you can see that we've got a URL here that has some specially crafted URL parameters that instruct the interface that's on this page to display that particular postal code and do some other things. So the JavaScript that does that is very straightforward. It's also covered in that tutorial, but as you can see here, all it does is it says, okay, just change the URL to the page that our locator is on and add these few URL parameters, one of which is the value that the user typed in to the postal code box. And so that's right here. So I don't know how much you know about JavaScript, but this is relatively straightforward. I'll include this code in the email, and the other thing I'll include is a link to this page as well. So generally speaking, this should be a pretty complete solution. So let me know if you have questions. Feel free to reach out to the help desk, and thanks for trying our software.